All right, we're live, Chris.
All right.
So, what were your overall thoughts on the game?
So let's get into it. The momentum has shifted. The tables have turned. Whatever way that you want to put it, the balance has, completely shifted. Suns even the series 2-2 with a 129-124 score in game four. Um, you know, you don't want to say you never, like I even heard somebody say, you don't want to say Landry Shamet is the guy that's going to make the difference in game four. Like no one would have said that prior to tip off. But I just feel like the Suns literally found all the gaps that we've talked about, all the little criticisms. And I'm not saying they're completely going away, but it was just like they almost fixed it in one game. Like pretty safe, a session of it. It was just one of those games where it's like, okay, now we've got a real series on our hands. So if every game forward is like this, then I can say I'm excited. I think that's my takeaway. If every game, give or take a little bit is like this, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was big to actually have somebody else step up, though. I mean, that's what they've been missing. So,
Yeah,
the fact that
yeah,
Landry, and I liked how more than everything about Landry Shamet is he was actually confident today. He, we talked about it before. That all the guys have been lacking confidence, and like T.J. Warren again came up clutch in the last minute of the game today after he had those two big buckets last game. He
yeah.
had
We had
that one.
two.
He had that one stop on Jokic after he made those two free throws. That was just
Yeah,
big minutes right there from him.
yeah. He had those two buckets, like you said, in game three. I think he hit a three and hit a two. I think it was like 5 points. Um, he was huge tonight. And honestly, to what you were saying, someone else that was like that to me is Durant. I mean, Durant was stepped up tonight. I think everybody's so quick to look at like the final stat, the final numbers for him in game three, but I mean, he also in game three, I want to say shot 12 of 31. Let me double check. Yeah, 12 of 31. So 39 points, but most of that came at the free throw line. Tonight, whole different ball game. You're talking about someone that stepped up and literally had pretty much as equally of an efficient night as Booker did. Booker's been pretty efficient, but I mean, Durant had 11 of 19 tonight. I mean, that's a step up and still got to the free throw line 13 times, hit 12 of 13. So I think that was the big thing last game was, yeah, he scored a lot, but we need him to be effective, not just from the free throw line. Complete 180 tonight. Um, Grabbed 11 rebounds and 6 assists too, but I was really, really impressed with Durant as a whole tonight. Played, got active on the defensive end. Got that big, pretty big block on Aaron Gordon going into halftime when they were attempting to, you know, get that last minute bucket, go into the halftime with the lead. Durant was Durant was really good tonight. I think that was one of the more important aspects. I know people will be quick to look at the Shamit performance, and they should. Let me say that. But yeah, I'm really excited with what Durant was able to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the fact that Booker had no points in the fourth quarter is that was just crazy. That it's just like sometimes I feel like sometimes with him is when the shots are falling like they have been the past two games, he wants to make every single one, and he'll pass up shots that are too difficult that he might think are too difficult, whether that's wrong or right. But I just think if you have a guy going like that, he shouldn't be afraid to. They credit to the Nuggets, so they took him out pretty much, and KD was the main ball handler in the last 3 minutes of the game, probably I'd say. So yeah, I just think KD really took over, like you said, and Booker just what he's doing is crazy. Like the efficiency that he's been playing with, 12 assists tonight too, to go along with 36 points, just otherworldly right now. How he's playing.
Oh yeah. Um, how do you feel given what we've said last game, everything that followed it? How do you feel about Aiden's performance tonight? Given everything that happened with him, having his sideline bickers again and things like that. How do you feel like he responded tonight with that?
Uh, well, literally, like, what was that? The very first possession of the game when he had like 3 offensive
Yeah,
rebounds. I thought that was huge,
yeah,
just to get him going. It didn't really translate. Like, there were just spurts. Like, it's always been with him. Like spurts where he plays really well to his potential, and then spurts you're like, what is this guy doing? I felt like he had some good moments. He had more good moments tonight than he did definitely in game 3. But I mean, he could still definitely be better. The lowest plus minus on the team. Jokic had 53 points. I think that's another big thing for the Suns. Jokic had 53 and 11, and the Suns still won. But DA did hold him to, I don't know how many rebounds he finished with, but I know he had low rebounds the whole game.
yeah. I think
Like DA did it
Jokic.
good.
Yeah,
KD also was really good at rebounding tonight.
yeah,
I mean, Aiden only finished with 8 and 8. I mean,
yeah.
he
It
can do.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like numbers wise his best night. He did look like he was going to start off crazy, like you said in that first minute, grabbing all those offensive rebounds. But I think he responded pretty good, like his energy wise and effort wise. I think he responded pretty good. I still think he has a lot more, like you said, to achieve because I did see a lot of people when it was tweeted that he grabbed all those offensive rebounds. People were saying the bar is so low for him that him doing that is next level, which I mean, you could make that argument, but I think he's got a little bit more work to do. But I think he did respond pretty good. Yeah, Jokic had 53, and that's really the only thing that hurts. I mean, for a hot second, the Suns were almost out of it. And, just in the final seconds, that could have kind of went either way. So Nuggets just kind of collapsed at the end. But I think that could have went either way with him. But I was pretty impressed more or less from what I saw from Aiton. I think he just has to keep turning up that intensity going into game 5 because now you're heading, back to Denver. Um, like you said, it's just 8 and 8. And then the other thing too, that I've noticed that I saw a lot of people notice, he was minus 13 compared to Jock Landale being plus 16, which, some people don't like the whole plus minus, but um, it does speak to Landale's effectiveness on the floor when he's on the floor. He's definitely did really good with that this series, being, pretty effective, especially given how last series it was almost like he was ineffective. It was more so it's Bismack or it's nothing. So, um, pretty impressed with what I saw from him. Aiton a little bit, think he can do better, but definitely pretty good with Landale. What's going on, Franklin?
So
What's up,
Frankie,
man? How y'all doing? Great win
Uh,
tonight. Yes.
yeah,
Did you see my boy Shamit, Chris? Did you
I
see my
had
boy
no
Shamit?
choice.
Yeah,
I
you
had
had
no
no choice.
choice.
Hey, man, it might have just been this game, but man, did he look like Ray Allen out there? I'm just putting that out there real quick. I'm putting that
He
out
had very Ray Allen-esque moves going on. I will
there.
concur. I will
I'm
concur.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was a great win for the Suns. I'm pretty sure you guys touched on it earlier in the show. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant still continue to guide this team really well, points wise. Both combined for 72 points tonight. But this was by far the best the bench has ever looked, and I think that's the key thing of tonight's game. Landry Shaman, of course, with 19 points and 5 threes, but Terrence Ross had great minutes. I thought T.J. Warren has played really well the last 2 games, and Jock Landale. I know I kind of heard that from you at the end where he had plus 16 and DeAndre Ayton had a minus 13. I think he's been amazing, and he's just been showed that physicality and effort on the glasses and just diving for balls. Like he's just been amazing. This benching and Monty's finally has it figured out the right people to play, and people are probably wondering like why hasn't this started like games ago. But I'm just happy now that we're here and he's figured it out, and now we're back to an even series going into Game 5, which is pretty incredible when a lot of people, including myself, thought this series was pretty much over in 5 games. So we at least now get to go to 6, hoping that the Suns can steal one in Denver. Might be a little tough because that Denver home crowd and that altitude is no joke. But we shall see. Right now, at this point where the Suns are at, I can see this series going to 7 games. So that's all you can ask for in a series like this, to have a chance at the end. So we shall see how it plays out. But great overall win by the Suns, a great overall play by the bench. By far their best they've ever looked in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely a wasted 53. What was it, 53?
53 and 10 or 53 and 11. He had 11 assists.
It's crazy.
And he only had 4 rebounds. He could have oh man, like that could have been one of the all-time triple doubles right there if he got those rebounds up. But yeah, he was just speaking on Jokic real quick, he was Jokic to me reminds me of like the way his athleticism is built and everything. He reminds me of Dirk, but then he plays similar to like a LeBron James type. It's kind of like we've never seen a player like this before as a center. So, I mean, kudos to him of having a great game and keeping this team just going absolutely ballistic right now. But yeah, it was a great overall game by Jokic. He deserves salute for this performance tonight.
Yeah.
Which brings the other, I guess, format into it. Like I said, essentially the Nuggets wasted a 53-point performance. And then you have to ask yourself now, given what may or may happen, he may not be available in Game 5. And if he's not, which, there's a lot to be said on if he should or shouldn't, that 1,000,000% changes the entire remainder of the series. Because at that point, without him, we're looking at 7. With him, we're looking at 7 games. Without him, the Suns could probably get it done in 6. I mean, who's to say not? Like I said, if Jokic gets suspended for that mini scuffle with Matt Ishbia, then that one game changes everything. I mean, it just does. Phoenix could literally go back to Denver, put a striking blow on him, come back to Phoenix, and that's all she wrote. Momentum starts to set in, and that's it. So how do you both feel? Because it's just, it's out there, and it's going to be a thing about I'll just call it a mini scuffle between him and Matt Ishbia. Like, how do you feel like that? What punishment should play out for Jokic, if any punishment? Let me say that.
I don't think he should be punished. Like, I just want. Do you think he knew that was Matt Ishbia?
I 1,000,000% do not think he knew that was Matt Ishbia. But I will also say I don't think he would have cared in that moment if he knew that was him. He may have not shoved him, but he may have not cared too much. But I don't think he knew that was him. No.
Yeah,
because he just thought it was an important person there, maybe sitting, next to Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, no other fan would have held on to the ball like that. I think that was the thing. Like, especially since he didn't know who it was, that no other fan, no matter how famous they were, would. Especially because it was Josh Okogie there too. I mean, maybe if it was like Booker, KD, and they were friends with him.
Yeah, no fan in history I think has ever been that hyped up to hold on to a game ball, like in the midst of the game. Like, no. What about you, Franklin?
I would say honestly that. Wait, by the way, can you guys hear me really well?
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah, I would say I personally thought, as much as I love Mashpia, he kind of flopped a little bit trying to sell it.
He flopped.
I love him. I love him to death. But I know he was doing it for the team, man. He knew. I understand what he was trying to do. I thought I thought he flopped a little bit. But also, I would say to his credit with Jokic, I do think Jokic did kind of nug him a little bit, which in my opinion he should get a fine, but he shouldn't be suspended. And believe me, especially if you're a Suns fan, you probably want him suspended so you can have a chance to end this in 6 games. But
yeah, no sense.
That's not happening. That's not happening. I don't see this happening.
And to Matt's credit, to what you just said, Franklin, I thought about that, which a lot of the internet said he flopped. But if you think about it, it's Jokic. I mean, if he's backing down 200 some odd pound guys every night, extending the forearm, sometimes they're flying, but he's giving them a good bit of distance of space just from you talking about little old Matt Ishbel to him. That's he may have literally, and you're standing up and your legs are already against the back of your chair. So that may have been legitimate where he did fall back from it. But
no, I think he legitimately lost his balance. But while he was, as soon as he knew that he lost his balance, he's like, I'm just going to go all in and trying to sell this as best as I can. So I think overall, I think it's just warranted a fine, if anything, but not a suspension. I think it has to be really egregious for it to be a suspension. I just don't think that's.
Nah, definitely won't be a suspension. Hopeful wishing for, like you said, Suns fans. I think anybody would take Jokic not being there, even though he still got Jamal Murray to deal with. But
yeah.
By
the way, we did a poll on Fern City Twitter account, and so a lot of people voted that he shouldn't be suspended, and a lot of people voted that. I think more than 10 people voted, but they voted no, he shouldn't be suspended, and that yes, it was a flop. Yeah, I agree with both. So,
and like I said, he may have sold it to so that is essentially a flop. The app was already there, but you just sold it a little more, so still a flop. Will he get suspended from it? No, because like I said, I think he thought he was just some diehard fan caught up in the moment, taking the ball away, and it's get back. Sure. Get back. I don't, but yeah, I think even Jokic there, Jokic not there. I still think the Suns do have a pretty good chance to take the lead going into Denver. Like I was just telling Brendan right before you came in, everybody's looking at Landry Shamet's game, and rightfully so. But when you're talking about people that stepped up, Durant stepped up. And like I told Brendan, everybody looks at that final stat from the other night, and they're like, oh, he did good. If you're looking at just the final, his scoring number. But half of those points came from the free throw line. You fast forward to tonight, I think it was 11 of 18, and still got to the free throw line 12 times. That's if you can do that mixed in with Booker having another brilliant scoring night and adding in, 12 assists?
Yeah.
The dude's playing at another level.
Yeah.
And I've said it already once, and I'll say it again. If not for his groin injury, halfway through the season, or more than halfway, would he be the clear-cut front runner for MVP? Would he have, been right there, neck and neck with, Jokic and Embiid? I won't say that, but would he have been a lot closer? And I do mean a lot. Absolutely.
He'd been in the top 5 because if we remember correctly, Shea was in the top 5. If you look at the final vote,
yeah,
I think he would have been right there where Shea was for sure.
Yeah, he would have been up there with Shea. He would have probably been past Shea, and Shea had a great season. But when you're able to and that's what I think people get mixed up. You can have a double-double, but it can be a non-efficient double-double. Booker has been having efficient double-doubles where he's efficiently scoring. He's just not chucking shots up and hoping they go or looking for contact, hoping it sticks, and he's effectively scoring and he's assisting the ball. Like, you can't want much more from this scoring dominant guard. Like, mind you, that's his go-to style of play is to score, and he's still finding time to assist at a Chris Paul level. There's not a lot of argument to be had with that. I mean, it's just not. I mean, in a way, and I could be being biased, I personally, if he was doing that this whole season, he would have my vote over an Embiid and over Jokic. And the only reason for that is just because when you're a score-first guard and you're dishing, that's you going out of your element. A big 7-footer like Embiid or Jokic, you're expected to rebound. That's a given. So you're going to get that. So, yeah, I mean, he's otherworldly right now, man. I mean, it's fun to watch.
Dude, I mean, there's a stat that came out, I think yesterday. He's the first player since Michael Jordan to average 35-plus points in 8 straight playoff games in the playoff season since Michael Jordan did it in 1992. The only 2 players to ever do that. He really does. He's really looking Kobe Bryant-esque right now. And I know, like, it's an easy comp because he loves Kobe. That's one of the players he models game after, yada, yada, yada. But he looks like not only does he look like Kobe, he looks like a younger version of KD with how efficient he's shooting the ball and how he's looking over these guys. I mean, like KD has said, like he has no words for it. And another word that KD said, it's spiritual. It really is. Like he's looking like the best version of himself right now. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I think there's still room for him to get better. But right now, there's like no like weakness to his game right now. Like it's kind of absurd. Like, yes, I agree with you, Chris. If he looked like he's looking in these playoffs this whole regular season, he'd be unanimous MVP, even with KD on his team. Like, that's crazy. Like,
he's clear cut, man. I mean, it's what more can you want? He's not a bad defender. I think that's maybe like when you're speaking on that one area to improve, that's something he can improve on because you can always get better at, defending the ball. But yeah, it's just hard to argue with 36 points, 12 assists, 6 rebounds.
Yeah, he's having a Michael Jordan level.
Like 14 of 18 from the field, mind you, literally the other game he was what 20 of 25.
He scored 27.
And like I told them,
he shot 2 free throws
at the very end, and that was almost like a technicality free throw. Like, wasn't even necessary. Yep. Like I told Brandon in the Spaces the other night, that's like 2K spamming numbers. Like, that's when you're on the My Player and all your stuff's up, and you literally can just chunk whatever you want. And you can't argue with that. I'm sorry, you can't argue with that. And I know this is a big MVP league now because you got Giannis and Embiid, Jokic. You can't argue with that.
I'm saying this, Chris, man. Look, we are with Chris, Brandon. We are witnessing the greatest son of all time right now, right before our eyes.
I wouldn't disagree.
It's really amazing to watch. I'm confident saying that. I know he doesn't have an MVP or anything like that, but I'm confident to say we are witnessing the greatest son of all time when it's all said and done. I'm confident to say that he is right now. Like he's just that dude. Like it's amazing. Like I'm speechless, but yeah. Dude, Brandon, what are your thoughts on D Book, man? Because I can go on and on and on.
We can all go on and on. Yeah, well, I mean, me and Chris were just talking. I just told Chris this too, but he had no points in the fourth quarter. I think that biggest thing for next game is what killed the Suns in Denver was when the Nuggets were still going on these runs in Phoenix where they would be down a little bit and then they would go on a big run. But when they were in Denver, they could sustain that because of the crowd. I just don't know if the Suns have proven that they can stop that, or was that just the home crowd that the Suns were able to stay balanced and stay focused? Because, I mean, like that game one, where they could just sustain those runs for so long. And when the Suns got down, I mean, the Nuggets would just keep going at them. So I don't know what's gonna happen when they go back to Denver. I think it'll be interesting to see.
This is definitely a battle of home courts, I would say. I do think the Suns really, really ruined a huge opportunity of stealing Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if they had that, I would feel very confident with them ending this in 6 games. But yeah, then the breaks. But it's really amazing to see um, how great they play. But you're absolutely correct, especially with the home court and when Nuggets go on their runs. I think what's key more so is not for necessarily Devin Booker, even though he had 0 points in the fourth quarter, or KD for that matter. I think that would be a good test for the bench when stuff like that happens on the road, especially in the hostile environment like Denver with the altitude. I think that's key because I think today was a blueprint on how to play playoff basketball off the bench. I thought this was by far the best game. Like I keep repeating, this has been the best game this bench has played so far in the playoffs. And Monty has finally
Okay.
figured out the right rotation to set foot for the rest of probably the rest. Well, it's matchup based, but definitely for the rest of the series. So it's going to be key to see how does the bench play when the Nuggets go on these runs and the crowd is really into it. That's when we'll kind of see how Game 5 gets dictated, and we'll see if the Suns can hold up to the
Yeah.
challenge.
If they win Game 5, then they win the series.
I
That's
agree.
just
Mm-hmm.
even if they go back home, and like you said, it's kind of been a game of home courts at this point. But if they win Game 5, it's done. Like
I got him.
even
Yeah,
if it goes to even if it goes to 7, which would conclude the game in Denver, I still believe Phoenix would get it done. Um, and like I said, I was writing on it earlier. Will Shamit, and it's not a slander because the dude, I mean, he did his thing tonight. That will he go 5 of 8 from 3 every night? Probably not. But if you're getting that type of level from him, you're integrating T.J. Warren, you're integrating Terrence Ross more. It brings about a different shift. You literally see the winning ingredient with the bench as far as the lineup goes. Only thing now is just to use it. I mean, Landell has been pretty good the whole series. Now you're bringing Shamit, not really bringing Shamit because Shamit's been getting high minutes lately, but now Terrence Ross, T.J. Warren, 17 minutes, 19 minutes. You bring them in, and it just shifts the entire dynamic of that bench, which was, like I said in something I wrote, that was pretty much the outlier against Denver. There were some other things, the transition defense, stuff like that, but depth was a huge thing, and you look like you solved that, at least for this game. So I think they can do it.
Oh yeah, they for sure can. I truly believe that it's going to be a challenge for sure, but they have a chance to shock people. Well, I wouldn't say shock, but put a good game forth in Denver. So
Yeah,
yeah, we're gonna say something, Brandon.
yeah. I think that the Suns bench. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I think they've been playing well defensively the whole playoffs. The Suns bench has, but now that they're showing and they've shown like maximum effort on the defensive end, been the offensive end that's been the problem, and it's not the over like people say like the bench has been playing bad, but I mean they've been playing good defense. That's my opinion on it. That they've been playing good defense. It just they haven't had any confidence, and I don't know. They just look lost on offense sometimes. But now that when it's just like the Nuggets have this set rotation, they're consistent in what they do, and they're good at it. Now that the Suns are kind of finding that right now, what works best. I mean, that's what you need with the benches. You need to find something that's consistent that builds up their confidence, so they know exactly what they need to do at what time. So I think that's good. What the Suns are doing right now with their bench and getting them motivated offensively, not just defensively.
No, that's good, Brandon. I can even echo to that because my boy Landry Shaman, as I would say, Chris, my boy Landry Shaman, he did a great job for the most part on Jamal Murray tonight. And now, granted, Jamal Murray still had 28, and he made some tough shots on Shaman, but I thought Shaman made it very, very difficult for Jamal Murray tonight. Will that change in game? I expect Jamal Murray to go stupid in game 5. I'm not gonna lie. But for this game particularly, I like the way the defense competed on the glass, especially off from the bench unit. I liked how Shamet was active off of screens when they try to get Jamal Murray kind of free. But Jamal Murray likes going one-on-one ISO on Shamet. I think he sees that as a good,
Yeah.
good matchup on him. But I thought Shamet competed really hard and made it difficult for him. And he still had a pretty decent night. Jamal Murray just made it difficult. So I like that. But another key thing that I think that went well for the Suns was they won the free throw battle today. They shot 29 free throws. That's amazing. And I think KD kind of set the tone for that last game by going to the line 12 times, even though he struggled shooting the ball last game, and he got back to his efficient night tonight. So I think that's a key ingredient. They shot 50, 40, and 80 tonight as a team, which is really, really good. That's where you kind of want to be at if you're a team in general. I thought them shooting 40% from 3 after struggling the first 2 games, phenomenal, great. I think 3-point shooting is really effective for the home crowd because you feed off the crowd's energy. Which shout out to the Suns faithful, you guys are awesome. And also, it's like, yeah, just in general, the free throw battle, just being a little bit more aggressive in the paint, being a little more forceful of getting to the line. I think that really plays and dictates outcomes in games. And I think that's the really key thing and great thing that the Suns need to be rewarded for. They won the rebound battle. They even won the boards battle offensively. The Suns gave themselves 12 second chance points tonight, which every minute, every one of those was very key in this game. So I think overall they played a dang near perfect game. From a stats perspective, you had 36 and 36 from KD and Book. You have the bench played well, their best of the season, or in the playoffs at least. You had, them win the free throw battle. You have them win the rebound battle. And they still only won by 5 because that's how great Nikola Jokic is. So that's the formula right there. You got to get that, especially when effort comes, the results match up to that. So I think that's key moving forward, and I think they have to replicate that in game 5. They want to come away up 3-2.
And like you said, from a stats perspective, I think it was as good as you get. You have to literally go nitpicky to point out that they both had Booker and Durant had 5 turnovers apiece, 10 turnovers together. But on another night, you may point that out a lot, if it was the difference maker. Even tonight, even if they would have lost, I don't think that would have been what you pointed to. Like, okay, Booker had 5 turnovers, just because of how great they both were tonight. So hard to And I think, like you said, I think the only hard thing to worry about is can something that great, like you're saying, be replicated, which I think it can. I honestly do, because for Booker and Durant, it comes easy. So I think it can. And I'm putting my bold take that they will take game 5, irregardless if Jokic is there. I don't expect him to drop another 53. He may have one of those games where he does a triple-double, but it's like 25, 13, and 10.
12.
Yeah, 10, 12. I don't think he's going to go 53, though. I mean, even though it's a very important game, I don't see him going 53. Maybe, like you said, Jamal has a crazy game next game, but I'm picking, if they play like this, I'm picking them every time. That's every time.
This is the standard, as Torrey Craig said. This is the standard, especially when they play fast. The tempo, that changes.
And that's just not the Nuggets that's who made from the Lakers and the Warriors series, and however every time they play like this, I have them. You get a little bit more effort from Ayton, as far as from a productive standpoint, but nah, this was good. This was good.
Ayton had a really tough and one opportunity. And real quick about Ayton too, because there was stuff that came up about him. Because I know Jock Landale really was passionate about defending him I remember seeing that in shoot around or not shoot around, but practice yesterday, and he was like really like defending him. And I kind of get it because I think one thing that we've done all season was really like we wouldn't. It wasn't necessarily from a team or from like a teammate perspective. It was more like physicality and like sometimes effort and sometimes and for a lot of times inconsistency. But I think DeAndre Ayton is a great teammate that really puts the team first. I just want to put that out there. But I thought overall he did have a minus 13, but I thought he also um, showed a lot more on the glass than he has in the past couple of games. Now, obviously, that's not the standard that you want. You obviously want him to play a lot better, which I'm still under the impression that he is who he is, like out of respect. But I thought today, for the most part, even though the stats didn't really replicate, I thought at times like he showed, you know, that that like that kind of player they can be. So I just want to throw that out there, but I don't know what y'all think.
Yeah, no, I think Aiden, like I was telling Brandon, I think Aiden did pretty good tonight. Was this his best numbers night? No, but
Yeah,
effort wise, yeah, he was there. Like you said, you put together a little bit better performance, and I like it from pretty much top to bottom. I mean, everybody's doing exactly what they need to do. I think that's the takeaway. You
yeah,
don't, you know, you have one guy coming off the bench giving you consistent and everybody else doing their role. Then you have Booker and Durant just taking the mantle and, you know, but everybody did exactly what they needed to, and that's why you got the score that you got.
yeah.
Wouldn't have liked it to come down to the wire, but
It's
I
playoff
mean,
basketball.
it's playoff basketball,
Yeah.
so we'll take it. I think is the way that goes. Is we'll take it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I can't give credit to Monty Williams enough because I know he was getting a little criticized for the way he's been playing the bench, and even for me, honestly, because
Yeah,
I was kind of nervous with the way. But
he
credit
was
to
getting
him.
it.
But credit to him, he made adjustments throughout the week that they had off, and the bench and the right. He's playing the right players, right rotations, getting max effort from the bench. He's done a good job of making adjustments to get him back in the series against a really good coach in Michael Malone, by the way. So
Very good coach.
I think he deserves some flowers for sure with how he's
Very
played.
good coach. Yeah, he definitely does. Like you said, he got criticized a lot, myself included. I think a lot of people did just
Yeah,
because it was
everybody.
like
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah.
you have to be a coach of adjusting when you're in the playoffs more so. Um, he did the right thing. And, even credit to, like I said earlier, Shamit is the takeaway, but credit to TJ Warren, credit to
Yeah.
Terrence Ross. TJ Warren was pretty good in game three. He had like 5 points in the final 2 minute stretch, I want to say, that really helped kind of kick it over the edge for Phoenix. So credit to those guys for being the people that fans and media have wanted to see a little bit more of, but it was always the defensive liability. Credit to them for actually stepping in and saying, "Hey, no, we can. No, we're not perfect, but we can get stuff done." And I think that's a good end result to have after we banked a lot on them once we signed them. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
credit to them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to effort, and they're especially for the bench, and they're showing it. That's a big thing. And another thing I wanted to say was, I think I said it in the spaces that people were saying that Booker and KD scoring combining for 80 points wasn't sustainable.
I was one of
I
those
mean,
people.
they showed it. They showed it tonight. I mean, they even though it wasn't 80, it was 72. I mean, they just take so many shots that they're gonna combine. I think they're capable of doing it 70 to 80, 90, whatever it is. They can do that like 3 to 4 times a series. Like,
Yeah,
especially with the way that Booker's been playing, like KD's gonna get. He should average, especially with the minutes he plays. There's no reason they both shouldn't average over 30 points a game, playing over 40 minutes in playoff basketball. When KD averages that in the regular season, Booker almost averages that. But now that they got increased minutes, there's no reason they shouldn't um, increase the scoring to over 30 a game. Booker's at still. I mean, what is he at? 36.9 after last game, so he's probably still around that number. So
Yeah, he's
That's
like
just
around
incredible.
he's like around 37. With how
Yeah.
he's been playing. So, no, I agree with you too. I was one of those people that, especially after last game, and it's crazy because I thought the bench last game played well too. Like it didn't show up in like points, but I thought the bench last game played really well. It's just from the other starters, you weren't getting the production per se from scoring wise to help them out. But I might be wrong, and I agree with you 100% when you say they should average 70, 80 to 90 points at least 3 to 4 times in a series, which is good enough to win you a game. So I agree with you, and I think it is sustainable for a series, but there is going to be games. I'm actually to the point where I'm very confident now in saying, like, even if Booker has an inefficient scoring game, I still think he's going to find a way to get 20 something. Which and then I expect KD to kind of offload that with his numbers. It's just those games I'm curious of how the team will respond. Because I know they're probably due for an inefficient night. Well, I know KD already had one. I know Book's probably due to for an inefficient night one of these games. I hope it doesn't happen, but it might. So I'm just curious of like what happens when that comes around.
Well, and kind of like you just said, though, Franklin, even if he does, he's still going to find another way to affect the game. Even if it's
Yeah.
20 points, he's shown he can get, 12 assists with 30 points. So if he's,
Yeah.
He's going to find a way to still get other people involved if it comes down to it.
Yeah.
And like you said, at that point, that's when you have Booker step up. That's when you have other guys step up that can help out, which you see is capable given tonight. If you show it, then that it's there. All we were
Yeah.
waiting on was for it all to click all together at one time. So, yeah, I think after tonight, I'm not sure what the title odds are right now, but that helps the stop. That's got to help the stop. There's no way around it.
Yeah. No, you're right. 100%. Yeah. But this was very excited that the series tied now, man, because I'm not going to lie. After game 2, I was a little. I knew they were going to win game 3, so I wasn't really worried about that. But then, I don't know. I was like up in the air for tonight's game, but it didn't disappoint. So
They did not disappoint.
it was one of the best games so far in the playoffs overall. So.
Oh yeah, I think one of the announcers at closer towards the end was saying how he didn't want it to end. Wishing it was going in overtime, which none of us were wanting that. But
Nope. As soon as he said that, I'm like, nope. I'm cool. I
yeah,
want them to
I
push this.
enjoyed it, granted, but
Yeah.
I could have did without that. Definitely could have did without the stress.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really good.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think Chris Paul is coming back next game, and what do you think his role should be? Like, I think that I think that he should come off the bench, honestly, with the way that campaign's been pushing the tempo. I mean, Chris Paul can still get the closing minutes, but the way that campaign's been pushing the tempo, Chris Paul can come off the bench and provide some scoring off the bench or whatever, whatever he can provide off the bench. You know who he is.
Yeah.
You know what he's capable of. But campaign has won you 2 games as a starting point guard. So, and we're not even talking about them missing Chris Paul at all. Like that hasn't even been a
Yeah.
talk out of anybody.
Yeah.
No one's talking about them missing Chris Paul. So I just wonder what they do if he does come back.
I think even if he comes back, I naturally, I guess my first mind is he's gonna start, but I kind of like your point on that too, because if Shamit is gonna play like that, and you have Chris Paul coming off the bench, there's your temporary firepower or offensive, equalizer, so to speak. So why break something that's working? Not the way that you expected, Paul to get hurt, Payne gets inserted, but we've said that a lot all season long on the possibility of Paul coming off the bench and Payne starting because of the tempo. And now you're seeing it in real time in a real dire situation and it's working. So I don't think Paul would have a problem, especially given the momentum and the gravity of it, but I think that wouldn't be a horrible idea. It wouldn't be a bad idea at all.
Yeah. What do I think they should do, or what I believe they're gonna do?
I kind of went with both. So
Yeah, just go with both.
Both. Okay. What I believe they're going to do, Chris Paul starting, and they're not gonna look back.
Yes.
That's what I think.
yeah, that's what
Chris
I believe.
Paul's starting. They're not gonna look back. I think, as crazy as this sounds, Cameron Payne's minutes are gonna be diminished, and Landry Shamet's gonna get a lot of. I'm not saying this is based off of just tonight. I'm saying it's just in general because I think Monty loves Shamet a little bit more on the defensive end. Now, what I think they should do is obviously I still think they should start Chris Paul, but I still think it's going to be tough. But I wonder if Monty Williams can find a way to kind of like split both Shamet and Payne's minutes because I do believe Cameron Payne's important from the standpoint of the pace goes up when he's playing, and I think that's super important. His energy is really, really important to the way their offense runs. Like he goes fast paced all the time, and when Chris Paul's out there, he does it in spurts, especially when they're in transition. But I feel like sometimes the offense gets now. Granted, he's one of the best facilitators and natural orchestrators of the game, so he knows what he's doing more than me. I just feel like there's some times where I feel like the ball's still sticking a little too long, and then the offense stalls because of it. And that's no knock on Chris per se, because I think Kevin Durant and D-Book still get the buckets from it. But it's just like there's times where I feel like as a whole the offense kind of stalls, and that's where the fatigue in a sense starts to kick in, and also the shots start to like not gradually going because there's no rhythm. So what I hope they do is you still go with Chris Paul and you still play his minutes, but I still feel like you kind of mix and match both Shaman and Cameron Payne's minutes. And if that means you have to play Chris Paul a little bit less minutes, I'm saying like he's socially finished the game and stuff, but if that means like kind of slowing down a little bit of his minutes, I think that's worth consideration. But what I think they're gonna do is they're gonna go with Chris Paul. And I think Shamet's going to play a bulk of the minutes off the bench, and Cameron Payne's going to get maybe like 5-ish minutes. He's gonna get like probably Torrey Craig treatment if I had to guess that he's getting right now. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Payne didn't have his game kind of got swept a little bit. It wasn't a phenomenal game. 5 points, what was it? 2 rebounds, 4 assists. So people look at that. They look at Paul's numbers. It's like kind of like you said, they're gonna probably put Paul back in there. And honestly, Paul wasn't always a non-up tempo guy. Like he wasn't always that. He used to be that. If you look back at his Clippers days or any of those, but over time he's transitioned to that a lot more. And like you said, it does stagnate the offense a little bit. And I think he knows that. I think it's kind of obvious. I think everybody knows it from not just our perspective, but Monty Williams and all them. The tempo does change undescribably when you have Payne in there. That's a reality. So I would hate to see his minutes take a dip. He technically, and like you said, you see Shamet getting more of those minutes. Shamet finished with 30 minutes tonight. Payne only had 25, so he already played more in those serious moments than Payne.
Yeah, and he had the hot hand, so I understand why.
You're gonna ride that. Ride that. But I would hate to see him get even less minutes because of that. But with Paul coming back, it's like somebody ends up with the lesser. So
I think I don't know if Chris Paul plays Game 5.
Yeah,
and that's the thing too.
You can be careful. I think you need to be careful with a groin injury, and that's what I'm. I'm wondering, like, could they just make him available and just not play him that much? I don't know if it's a possibility or not.
Even if it is, I think, and it's just given Chris Paul's game, I don't know if it would be beneficial to even play him sparingly, like super sparingly. He's either a guy that gets at least 20, 25 minutes minimum if he's in that role, or if you're only going to play him 12, 15 minutes, you probably shouldn't even touch that, honestly. I would just leave him and let him get his, like I said, because groins are just so unique in terms of, just the comeback from them. So,
Yeah, Chris's credit, I think you either have him go full go or don't play him at all. I don't think I don't see the the impact he can have if he's playing like 12 minutes. Like I just don't see it.
That's how I feel too. That's why
Yeah.
I don't know. I think just Shamit. Well, I mean, Shamit's taking Okogie's minutes too, and it's just
He's
difficult because they finally have a rotation, and then they're gonna have to put Chris back in it, and so they're gonna have to mess up the rotation again.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if it's gonna come down to either Shamit or Payne, and I think he's gonna choose Shamit over Payne personally.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
and it may have not been that.
Yeah, I still think Torrey Craig's minutes are still gonna be kind of going down. I think because
he didn't even play at all today.
Yeah, because I think they found something with T.J. Warren and Terrence Ross over Okogie, or I wouldn't say over Okogie. Okogie and Terrence Ross play similar minutes. I would say he found something with Warren in this series over Craig. So that's not going to stop. They're going to still go with like the similar bench that they have now. I just think it comes down to who you're going with, Cameron Payne or Shamit. So
yeah, and I mean the playoffs are all about adjustment. So you could be a Torrey Craig who was a high level player for the Clippers series, and now we fast forward and it's different lineups. So
matchup based. Yep. Damian Lee had more time last series as well, and he played more in the first game and first two games.
It's 9 o'clock.
So, sorry, that's mine.
Yeah, I think you just have to be ready to adjust. Honestly, like. That's just the name of the game. If you're not one of those core players, if you're not Durant, Booker, Ayton, you have to be ready to adjust. I mean, you just do. Anything can change. So,
shoot, Wendell's been getting similar minutes to Ayton.
I was just about to say that. I was like, I don't know if I want to say it, but it's
the truth. It's the truth, and that's not to say like because Ayton stinks or anything. It's just like matchup purposes and like how he's been looking, and you see the effort on the glass. He's making it a little bit more tougher for Jokic, and Jokic is still phenomenal. He's still going to get his, but he's making it a little bit more tougher for him, So it's like that plays a role in matchup purposes. It could change next series if they get there. So
yeah, I could see them if they play the Lakers. Definitely, I don't know. I could see them starting Torrey Craig, guard LeBron
because he's bigger. It's like the Kawhi thing. It's like the Kawhi thing.
Yeah, what would Okogie? Yeah. I mean, who won the D'Angelo Russell or Austin Reeves? I don't know why they would beat Okogie.
That's a good point, Brendan, because they have Okogie more so for the Jamal Murray aspect, and then last series they had Craig in there for the Kawhi Leonard effect. Mm-hmm. So that's a great point. I think now we're getting ahead of ourselves. They have to get past this series, and this series is crazy as is, but if they do play the Lakers, so to speak, and we can go both ways, Lakers or Warriors. If they play the Lakers next series, I can see them starting Craig because of the LeBron effect. If they play the Warriors, I can see them starting Okogie because of the Steph Curry effect. Yeah. So that's actually valid. That's actually a valid thing you brought up. Then that's probably coming the way Monty's looking at it.
Shamit will be big against the Warriors too, with how he's been playing defensively.
Oh,
the way that he I wonder if he would start because the way that he avoids screens, I think that's the biggest thing about him defensively is the way he can get past screens.
I think that's his best attribute of his game.
Yeah, because it's not essentially attribute of the Warriors.
Exactly, it's not a lot of. It's something that not a lot of people would talk about, and it's like why would you? But it's really. You know how hard it is to get through a screen? He finds ways to just slide through it all the time. Now, granted, is he blocking the shots afterwards? Not really, but it makes it tough,
Yeah, and if you're talking about a team, like every team, screening is essential. Let me say that. But when you're talking about a team that's elite at it, have made a living off of freeing up, Curry for, with screens or Clay, they're huge off the ball. I mean, huge. Yeah. Curry's either or, but I mean, that's where something that Shamit does come into place. That's where you would see Okogie more. And then, like y'all said, I think you see Craig probably more with the Lakers just for that size.
It's the size, LeBron, Austin Reeves effect even. So But I can see Booker. I can see Booker kind of going on Austin Reeves and doing a good job. So.
I was just about to say, I think Booker could give Austin Reeves a good, and it seems like the Warriors have kind of not necessarily, they've had their moments where it's like they've shown, okay, he can be guarded by not even the elite defenders. We can put a pretty decent defender on him and we can manage. And then everybody else plays.
Dante DiVincenzo, for example. I thought he was pretty good on him. So. But we shall see. They still got to get past the Nuggets. The Nuggets scared me so.
Your series is far from over.
Yeah, far from over, but it's fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool that we get to cover this. I'm just saying, that's so sick. Yeah,
it's one of the better things to see, especially this series, depending on how it plays out. Could be, like you said, probably the best series played of the playoffs. I'm thinking.
Well, Warriors.
I was gonna say Warriors Kings.
This is up there though. This is probably going to go down as the best, especially if there's 7 games.
Yeah, this will probably be the number one once it's done, just because the Kings and the Warriors kind of tilted off at the end. You just saw the Kings kind of taking steps back into certain games. But
Steph Curry's greatness, really.
Yeah, this could be probably the best series of the whole playoffs, and that's even projecting into the finals, conference finals. Yeah.
Let me ask y'all a question, because I know we're probably about to wrap up soon. But let me ask y'all a question real quick. Is Devin Booker a top 10 player now?
Currently?
Currently, based on what we've seen, has he ascended himself into the top 10 now, or is it kind of like, let's still kind of pause on that? Because
I'll let Brandon go if he wants to go, because I just need something to support my
Currently, with the way Booker's playing, I mean, just in the playoffs, I think he's the best player right now in the playoffs. But overall, I'm trying to think.
It's tough. So
yeah, I mean, I have to think who's ahead of him. I'd say is top.
I can give you names as overall players, because like you got your Jokic's, of course. You got your Joel Embiid's. You got your Steph Curry's. You got your LeBron James. You got your KD's. You got, I mean, I know he didn't make the playoffs, but Luka, still a phenomenal player. You got Kawhi Leonard when healthy.
Yeah.
You got blanket. Oh, I know he didn't make playoffs either, but you got your Damian Lillards.
You said LeBron?
I did say LeBron.
Okay.
You got Damian Lillard. You have your possibly. I'm forgetting the player. No, I am. Oh, Giannis. Oh my God, Giannis. You got your Giannis, and you have your. I mean, could we argue Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Shea?
I don't know. I think
he's in that conversation with those 3.
Yeah, I need to see him in order to surpass people. Then the Suns need to at least get past this round.
Yeah,
to continue performing. Like he needs. If the Suns win a championship, he's definitely top 10.
Yeah, I think he's in the conversation with that bottom tier list of the top 10. Like your Tatum's, your Shea's, your Jimmy Butler's, and your Anthony Davis, and John Morant. Those kind of players.
Yeah, I don't know.
I definitely think he's top 10.
You don't think?
And I definitely do.
Oh, you definitely.
I was trying to find a certain list, but I think he's definitely top 10. Like you said, there's certain people that are still going to be where they're going to be. If you're talking top 10 currently, but he is right there with the. The funny thing actually is, in terms of the new class, so to speak, it's him, it's Booker, it's him, it's Tatum, Luka, Ja, Shea, but primarily you hear those first 4, and you used to hear Trae Young actually. You used to hear him a lot, and you would see Booker sometimes be the outlier. Not a lot, if it came to Trae and him, but in terms of like Luka, Tatum, and him, and Ja, perhaps he would be. It's call me crazy, but if you do the whole little start cut
I'm
bench
gonna.
or whatever the heck, he's there. Like he's number one right now. If you're talking right now, he's there.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
there.
gonna.
Where's Luka? Luka's at home. Tatum's doing pretty good, but he's not as efficient or as effective as Booker. Ja's at home. Um, he's there. I mean, he just is. He's proving it right now.
Yeah. No, and I've seen, and we've seen him over the years when he has to handle double teams, and he's still averaging 26, 27 points a game. A lot of people might argue, like, well, he has KD, and KD's, well, getting bulk of the double teams, and that's freeing up Booker for more one-on-one scenarios. I think the Nuggets have transitioned their offense a little bit more to double teaming Book now, which has freed Kevin Durant to be a little bit more efficient in his game. So it's kind of tough for teams when you have those two, but I don't know. That's always been tricky to me. I definitely think you can make an argument. I don't know where I'd put him, but he's in the Tatum, Ja Morant, Shea, and Jimmy Butler conversation and Anthony Davis conversation. My opinion, I think he's better than Ja right now, personally. I'm
Yeah,
not.
Ja hasn't proven. I don't
He's
think
better
Ja's
than Ja.
proven.
Yeah, I'd say he's better than Ja.
I
I'd
think
say
the headliners would say Ja just because he's been the it guy
more.
pushed a little bit more to the, but
Yeah,
he's definitely more efficient scoring wise. Um, I definitely think he can control the pacing better than Ja. Uh, he's
yeah.
better than Ja right now,
I would say
and
as
it's
a
not a slight to
yeah.
Ja, but yeah.
I say the two things Ja has ahead of him, which you all may disagree with the second one. Obviously, athleticism he's got over Book, but I think he's I think Ja's most underrated attribute is his facilitating. A lot of people might not agree with me. I do think he has that over Booker, and Booker's really good as a facilitator. I just think Ja's like really high up there.
The the Grizzlies' offensive system is so weird though. Like the tempo that they play with, it's just hard to compare. Like I don't know what Booker would do if he played at the tempo that Ja and the Grizzlies play at. Like it's just weird.
Yeah,
that
that's true.
They play at. It's like two different play styles.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't put that in.
It is hard to kind of gauge. That's why for a minute I struggle with the Ja comparison because they play so differently in entirely different systems. But if we're looking at impact, then yeah, Booker's got him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There were times where the Grizzlies were succeeding when Ja wasn't in there. That's
There's
a
a lot more.
no matter.
There's a lot more ball movement, a lot more spacing. I would say. I think that's one attribute that I didn't realize with Ja on the court is. I'm not saying that there's least amount of spacing, but it allows your offense to kind of contribute a little bit more effectively when it's off the court per se, because there's a lot more ball movement and spacing, so to speak. Like I think a guy, and I know I don't want to say this for Suns fans here in this, please forgive me. I think a guy like Cam Johnson could thrive in the Memphis Grizzlies system if Jaw's not the primary guy on the team per se, because of the way that system rolls with the ball movement. I don't know. That was kind of like my interesting thoughts.
Yeah, that's why they wanted Mikal Bridges so bad.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Listen, the only place Cam needs to come to in the offseason is right back in Phoenix.
Hey, man, I'm telling you. Hey, James Jones, build a statue for James Jones right then and now if they find a way to get Cam Johnson
work. Oh, dude, if they get Cam back, I will gracefully, if somehow they don't win the championship with Cam back, let me say that, I would still bow out of the James Jones being anything.
Give him a lifetime contract if that happens, because that would be the biggest chestnut checkers approach I've ever seen.
If you make it work and you don't have to offload any of your core, that's chess. That's the chess of all chess moves.
Yeah, man,
so,
that'd be amazing. Do I see it happening? No, he's too expensive.
Nah, it's a pipe dream.
But yeah,
It's a pipe dream.
it's very
Cam
much.
loves Phoenix, but he also wants to get paid, and I
They'll
cannot.
definitely. The Suns will definitely look into it for sure. They'll be like,
Oh, they'll at least make a call. They'll
Yeah.
they'll at least make a call at the very least. At the least.
So. Anything else, y'all have anything to talk about before we wrap up? Because I know we're like an hour and 5 in.
Nah, man.
We just talk all
Suns
night
ticket.
about Devin Booker.
Yeah,
Talk all night
I
about
mean,
that. His greatness is unmatched, man.
yeah.
He can
I'm
get
excited.
anything. He can get anything he wants in Phoenix for life.
I thought you were saying against the and see that's just we could just keep going because I thought you were saying he could get
that's
anything
what
he
I'm
wanted
saying.
against Denver, and I was like, no, he could get anything he wanted against Los Angeles. Like he could have got anything. You know, what are we talking about? He's gonna get whatever he wants against the Lakers or Golden
He's
State.
the best.
I mean,
He's the best he's ever looked at, and I'm telling you, when he hits it, when he's in his 30s, it's gonna be amazing. I'm telling you, when he's in his early 30s,
oh yeah, dude's gonna be next.
It's
I
about
hope
to go dummy when he's in his early 30s.
I honestly hope, and I hope it gets clipped, that the Warriors do make it. Because I will literally, frankly, this will be the first time you see me face to face because I will come to Phoenix on my own volition with my own money and buy a different ticket to sit courtside and watch Steve Kerr throw Klay Thompson at Devin Booker. Oh my Lord! I've never wanted to see. I've never wanted to see something so bad. Oh my God! You talking about cooked? Oh my God! Sunday morning cooked. That boy is cooked. He's done. You are out of here. You are gonna get. Oh my gosh! Baked like a bag of
I've been
chips.
I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I've been wanting Suns and Warriors for the last 2 years. Like, I just think it'd be such a fun series to watch because
I was kind of hoping for that.
You'd have the mid-range Mafia against the Splash Brothers.
Yeah, I don't know. Golden State rematch of KD facing Draymond.
The narrative stories behind it, the freaking matchups, like the chess matchups between mid-range scoring versus three-point scoring is all a nerd dream, man. A sports nerd dream. I'm telling you,
it would be amazing, man. Like
Draymond against KD. Oh Lord, I can go on and on. Dang.
You got Book against essentially Clay because of that positioning, you know, and I think Curry would be tasked with Payne or Chris Paul, but in the chirping that's went back and forth between Booker and Thompson, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, you bring this Devin Booker in there.
Yeah. I would personally, I would love, and this is no knock on Aiden. This is just me kind of just dreaming off a little bit. I would love the Suns if the Warriors didn't have Looney, man. If the Suns had Looney, man, Jock Landale can learn a lot from that dude.
I was just going to say that's the only knock of the Warrior series is Looney and Aiden, because Looney got
that man can grab boards, man.
Like it's nobody's
business. He's slow though. That's the only problem with him.
Yeah. I think Jock Landale can be a clone of that, in my opinion.
Yeah. He doesn't have the necessary footwork. Like he doesn't have the moves you see from a typical skilled big man. But if you're talking about strictly boards,
he's skillful in that regard with footwork and everything.
Yeah, he's really good.
Looney with rebounds is just
if you're talking strictly boards, oh my God, that dude there. That might be the only worry if we get them next series.
We talk about playoff Jimmy. There should be playoff Looney, man. When it comes,
dude is different.
Like Jimmy Butler turns into Michael Jordan, but Kevon Looney turns into Dennis Rodman. Like it's crazy. So
I'm honestly, if we get past the Nuggets, I'm more worried about what comes out the East potentially with the Heat than I am anybody else we see after the Nuggets, be it the Warriors, be it the Lakers. I'm definitely more worried about because the Heat, Butler, like you said, he literally has shown he can cut it on at any moment. Like they were literally almost out the playoffs, and come on.
Yeah, man, it's wild. There's a lot of scenarios that can happen, and I'm just
Definitely.
excited. I just excited, but they gotta get past the Nuggets first, and I don't even know if that's still a possibility. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
You're saying they're gonna win Game 5, Chris. So I think
Standing on it.
I think the Nuggets get Game 5, and we get a Jamal Murray avalanche. No pun intended. But we get a Jamal Murray avalanche in Game 5. So.
But would it be enough of an effect like a Jokic avalanche? That's the only thing. Like Jokic avalanche put them in.
But we saw that in Game 1
Yeah.
when Jamal Murray hit 34 and
True.
9.
True.
That was an avalanche. Like, especially when the crowd gets into it. That's what I'm expecting. I'm thinking Jamal Murray's going to go stupid on
Yeah.
Tuesday. I hope I'm wrong though, Chris, and I hope you call me
I
out.
hope you are too, because
I hope you call me out on it too.
no, I mean if he does, it's like, hey, kudos, hats off to him. But yeah, we'll see.
I just feel like it's coming. I still think it's going 7.
I think you know what? I will take your Jamal Murray game and I will raise you. Make sure before I pick, I'll raise you an Aaron Gordon game.
What do you mean? Like he's gonna have a good game?
Yeah.
Like what are we talking? Like 20 to 10?
I feel like he's due for one, like one of those. I think that was what game 2.
At Game 1, he had a good game. He had 23 in Game 1. Game 1, everybody was stupid for Denver.
I'm either expecting heavily more than Murray than Gordon or Michael Porter Jr. to have like one of those games. I really do. I think it's coming.
I'm seeing more so Jamal Murray and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I'm even going crazy. Caldwell-Pope is gonna have like 4 threes again. Like
I was riding with you, and then I got off that Caldwell-Pope.
Hey,
and he's good.
I'm telling you, they feed off that crowd's energy, man. Denver.
True.
I'm telling you, that's the only reason. I'm going based off and feeding off the crowds. That it's a real thing in sports. So
true.
I'm telling you, it's
true.
But I'm also calling the Jamal Murray avalanche. And if that does happen, I'm gonna write a story on that too. I'm like the Jamal Murray avalanche that's taking full effect of this series.
The Jamal Murray avalanche, I told you so.
I told you so. And then the first sentence is gonna be like, I tried to tell Christopher Denson, but here we are.
And then I'm gonna tweet it and say, Phoenix Suns insider puts a hex on the Suns' chances by predicting Jamal Murray's avalanche.
We can honest. Shoot, exactly. You ain't lying. You are not lying.
Gotta sneak you out of Phoenix now. Like, get him out of here.
But more importantly, I'm just happy that Shamet had the game of his life tonight. Shut everybody up for a game. Because respectfully, he was getting booed in Game 3, and I felt so bad for him. It was bad. Like anytime he came back into the game, there was some boos. And then for him to bounce back and have the game that he did tonight, kudos to him. That's mental toughness.
He gets paid a lot of money.
He gets paid a lot of money, Brady. You're right. He's living.
We can't pay him a lot of money just for one game.
Yeah, I know. That's true. But hey, he's done good against Jamal Murray, but Jamal Murray might have another thing coming in. Jamal Murray avalanche, Chris.
When you say avalanche, define like what number specifically are we looking at?
Like 30 plus, like 35. 35
are we
and like
sprinkling in 7 assists.
Yeah, 35 points, 8 assists, 5 threes. Those fourth and like 3 of them come in the fourth quarter, and it's just guns blazing from there, and we're just like, damn. Let's just go to Game 6.
If he's doing that and Jokic is doing like the 25-ish that I predicted, then yeah, it's gonna be hard to stop. But I still got the Suns in Game 5. So
what do you have happening for the Suns?
So I got a Devin Booker. I ordered a Devin Booker 30-piece. Kevin Durant 30-piece. Pretty much similar numbers, but then also got Aiden getting like 12 and 10, maybe.
Ooh.
Just being a little bit more up there. Shamet going 3 of 4 from 3 specifically. I'm going to that much I will remember. 3 of 4.
So am I hearing that are you jumping on the Shamet train after one game?
He will get that done. He will get that done.
Hey man, I'm willing to ride the ship train as long as possible. So my boy Landry Shaman, thank you so much for shutting everybody up, including myself at times, because I was nervous about you, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, you probably more than anybody. So
also, Shaman needs to get a poster on Aaron Gordon. He needs revenge. I'm just kidding. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah. And I mean, Durant needs one on Michael Porter Jr. So,
that was nasty.
I said, my word, heavens, good Lord!
Hey man,
what did that man do to you?
I was up in the press box and I was just like, because we're all still kind of going crazy because the Suns just scored. So when that happened, I was kind of just shook for a second. Then I looked at I was like, did Michael just yam on KD?
And it didn't change the dynamic of the game, but it was still just kind of like
it was disgusting.
Yeah, it was like, whoa, you know. So we shall see, man.
I was shook.
But yeah, that'll wrap us up for the night. We are looking forward to speaking to everybody after Game 5 when they win by exactly 3 from 4 from 3 from Shannon.
I'll be there.
Yeah, Franklin will be there. So
I'll be there. I'll be happy if the Suns win, and I'll just be like, I told you so. I'll say I told you so if the Jamal Murray thing happens. But if the Nuggets win and Jamal Murray doesn't have a good game, I'll be sick. Let's just leave it like
that. I concur. You will die on the Jamal Murray hill. At least this game.
He's doing that. He's due just a freaking outpouring, man. I'm telling you.
At least this game.
Yeah. Coming. That's coming.
Well, that'll do it. I am Chris Stinson. We've also got Franklin Miller, Brandon Mao, and we are the Feel the Burn podcast from none other than Burn City Sports. Be sure to check out Franklin. He has quite a bit of podcasts that he does during the week with some other NBA analysts. So he'll be deep diving on certain players and, mixing it up. There's a lot of different topics. I think you all will definitely enjoy it. But we will see you guys back here after Game 5.